The following step is the most time-consuming part. Now the gears have to be assembled in the correct order. This involves a few details, which I will go into in more detail. The picture shows the arrangement of the gears. Gear wheels of the same color are located on one axis. Gear wheels that mesh with each other are called corresponding gear wheels. So-called herringbone gears are used. It is important to know that corresponding gears must always be in opposite directions. This is particularly important for gear wheel Z3, as it is symmetrical and could therefore be inserted incorrectly due to carelessness. The herringbone toothing is also the reason why a corresponding gear wheel cannot be inserted vertically to the axis of an already mounted wheel. As a rule, corresponding gears must always be inserted together, i.e. parallel and vertically into the corresponding bearings. Short screws are inserted into the helical gear and the spacer gear. These only have the function of reinforcing the gear axes against shear forces. After this short side step into theory, we now continue with the assembly. We assemble the first group of 3 gears. We prepare these first. Screw an M3X14 reinforcing screw into the helical gear wheel. Do the same from the other side with the distance gear. Insert an M3 nut into the small gear wheel Z4. The next step is to insert these gears in parallel into the matching bearings. To do this, we clamp the center gear between the 2 outer gears. In doing so, we determine how stable the herringbone teeth hold the gears. Now insert the group of gears into the bearing bushes. Now we continue working on the rear side. We need the large gear wheel Z3, the one with the 6 holes, and the small gear wheel Z2 with the quick release axle. It has 13 teeth. We insert an M3 nut into the latter. Place both gears together. We should already pay attention to the orientation of the square hole of Z3 so that it has the same orientation as the axle of the already installed Z4 gear wheel. Now slide this arrangement into the bushing or onto the quick release axle. Use an M3 washer and an M3X25 screw to connect the Z3 and Z4 gears. Now we install the 2 remaining gears. To do this, we first prepare the input gear by pressing a 22mm bearing into it by hand. We now need the last large gear wheel Z1. We place this on the input gear as usual and then slide both gears together onto the stub axle or the axle of the main plate. Finally, we attach Z1 to the quick release axle of M2 using an M3X30 screw and a washer. Now we must first prepare the axle spindle. After printing, please take great care to ensure that the grooves for the square nuts are free and that there is no more support material in them, especially at the ends. Otherwise you will not be able to insert the nuts as far as they will go. If necessary, clean the grooves with a small screwdriver or a Dremel tool. If everything is in order, insert the M5 and M3 square nuts. Check that they are seated correctly. Now we insert the 2 matching end pins. I have glued these with Woolfix superglue and activator. The axle spindle is now prepared and can be used. With the narrow side, i.e. the side with the M3 nut, we now insert the axle spindle into the input gear or onto the bearing and screw it on from the rear using a washer and an M3x35 screw. Tighten the screw fairly firmly.